Kenya has paused the finalization of a significant trade agreement with China worth nearly $1 billion, a move that underscores Nairobi's delicate balancing act between major global powers as it seeks to protect its economic interests and trade partnerships. The proposed Kenya-China trade deal, often referred to in reports as an early harvest agreement, has been effectively put on hold after sustained pressure from the United States government. This deal, which would have eliminated tariffs on key Kenyan agricultural exports like tea, coffee, avocados, and fish, had been in advanced stages of negotiation and was poised for a formal approval by Kenya's cabinet, parliament, and the presidency. However, internal and external diplomatic pressures have slowed progress, leaving the agreement languishing in bureaucratic limbo. Insiders say the finalized text of the treaty document remains on shelves of the Ministry of Trade in Nairobi, awaiting action that now seems uncertain. The United States, a key security and trade partner for Kenya, has been vocally skeptical about the pact. Washington's stance is shaped by its broader economic competition with China and its flagging trade preference program, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. AGOA, which provided duty-free access for thousands of Kenyan goods into the U.S. market for 25 years, expired on September 30th, 2025. Its lapse has already put pressure on Kenya's exporters, particularly in the textiles, apparel, and agricultural sectors, which now face stiff tariffs on goods previously exempt. American officials have warned Kenyan policymakers that moving forward with a full China trade deal could jeopardize Nairobi's prospect of renewed access or participation in future U.S. trade initiatives, including the Strategic Trade and Investment Partnership being crafted in Washington. The stalled China agreement, with its promise to open up Beijing's massive market of 1.4 billion consumers to Kenyan products tariff-free, was viewed by many industry groups as a potential counterweight to Kenya's widening trade deficit with China. Imports from China have long outpaced exports to the Asian giant, contributing to persistent current account imbalances. At the same time, Kenya's reliance on the U.S. market has deep roots. Duty-free access under AGOA provided a cornerstone for the country's export economy, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises. The prospect of restoring preferential U.S. access or securing new trade terms has made government officials cautious about appearing to pivot fully toward Beijing at the expense of Washington. The trade deal suspension highlights the broader dynamics of U.S.-China rivalry in Africa. Washington has, in recent years, intensified its efforts to counter Chinese economic influence on the continent. Kenya's strategic location and role as one of East Africa's most dynamic economies place it squarely in the middle of competing global interests. For President William Ruto's government, the situation has become a foreign policy challenge. How to sustain beneficial relations with China without alienating the United States, whose political and economic support remains significant for Kenya's development objectives. Kenyan authorities are reportedly continuing internal consultations with both domestic stakeholders and foreign partners as they assess the trade deal's prospects. The final outcome may hinge on broader negotiations over access to U.S. markets and whether Washington agrees to terms that can compensate for the economic opportunities Kenya might gain by deepening trade ties with China. Whatever path Nairobi chooses, its decision will reverberate beyond economics, shaping the country's diplomatic posture in a world where trade and geopolitics are increasingly intertwined. If you found this video helpful, eye-opening, or worth talking about, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps these conversations going. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.